evening, everyone. Welcome to Dare to Share with Mistie Layne. Man, it's been a great day. I hope you're having an awesome day and winding down into an awesome evening, getting some relaxation and some self-care and some me time. If you're new to the show, just a little bit about me. My name is Mistie. I'm the best-selling author of the book, What Goes Up, which is just my life story in a nutshell. It's a book of raw truth. It's a book of no sugarcoating. I talk about all the adversity I went through and how I turned it all around. A short little snippet into my life. I went from medical school, studying to be a surgeon, to prison for vehicular homicide, facing a 40-year sentence. So my life has been up and down all over the place. I've been blessed many times over. I just really speak about transparency because to me, that's the most important thing going forward, is being honest with not just everyone around you, but with yourself when you look into that mirror, so that you can forgive yourself, so that you can learn to love yourself through the pain, and that you cannot waste that pain. And by sharing your experiences, you can turn it around. Speaking of that, there's a Facebook group. I invite you to go ahead and jump on over there on my page and join the group. It's called #BeThatOne. And that is it's a group, it's a community. I encourage people to step up and share their authentic truth so that we can educate and make each other aware of different situations and scenarios and play off of each other's strengths so that we can judge less and mentor more. So please go over there and join #BeThatOne movement for me. Also, if you would like to be a guest on the Dare to Share with Mistie Layne show, it's really simple. You're just going to type the word guest in the subject line of an email and send it to mistielayne@mistielayne.com. Pretty simple. Awesome. Okay. Also, let's see. Go ahead and share this out for me. I would love for you to share this with all of your groups, all of your family and friends. You never know who might be listening that might need to hear something that Tamara has to say. Whew, she's been through so much. Or something that I might say that might strike a nerve or a chord with someone that can help turn their life around. It's free, guys. It doesn't take but a second. Please share that out for me. Let's see who else here. Julius Mercer. Hello, Julius. Hey, Jana. It's good to see you back, honey. Hi, Linda. Love you. Hi, Mikey. You know we love you, Mikey. We're going to show a picture of you here in a little bit, Mikey. Stick around, buddy. All right, you guys be making comments if you're on here. If I didn't call your name and you're here, it's because you're watching from my regular Facebook page and not my business page. I'm only going to see the comments from my business page, and it's called Mistie Layne page instead of Mistie Layne. It's kind of, I know, I don't even understand it myself. But if you're on the Mistie Layne regular site, jump over in the search bar and type Mistie Layne page and watch the show from there. And then when you make your comments, I will see them. I'll be able to see them show up. If not, it's okay. Just enjoy the show. We have a phenomenal guest for you. Before I get into Tamara's story and bring her in, I do want to thank our sponsors. This show is powered by sponsors, and I'm so grateful to have them on board. So take a minute, hear what they have to offer, and support them as they support the show. Today's show is sponsored by Simple Changes from Wanda Reynolds. Make a simple change today for a healthier tomorrow with products like Simply Satisfy, which aids in gut digestion and curbs your appetite. Mental wellness is directly related to gut health, so keep a happy gut with Simply Satisfy. Then there's Simply Soothe. It helps relax your sore muscles and it supports your overall joint health. Simply Start is made from 100% organic hemp oil. It promotes your calmness, supports sleep, and maintains healthy joints. Contact Wanda Reynolds today through Facebook Messenger or at scdso.com/live life wonderfully. Health provides simple solutions to whole body health. To get and stay healthy, we offer Somaderm HGH Gel. Would you like to sleep like a baby and wake up rested? Do you want to feel maximum benefits from physical exercise? Do you want to burn through that afternoon slump with energy to last well into the night? Well, you can. And you may also experience 25 other whole body improvements with the gel. It's effective, safe, FDA registered, and very affordable. Diane has immuno boosters and keto support products too. Contact Diane Chasik at lifesmilehealth.com or text lifestyle to 64600 today. All right. Thank you again to our sponsors. Please check out their websites, guys. Like I said, support them as they can support this platform so that we can get these stories out there. All right. Let's see who else we got jumping on. We've got, Mikey's mom and I want that sleep medicine. Oh, cool. Mikey, go ahead and give them contact them, please. It's great stuff. Awesome. Thank you for that. She will be very happy to hear that she's getting sales off the show. Yay. All right, guys. Tamara Hunter is a friend of mine. She is such an amazing, phenomenal woman. Those of you that know me and have followed me, I'm sure you know about Tamara. She was my biggest competition in the next Impactor competition. And I always said that if I wasn't going to win it, I knew she was going to win it. And I was happy for her because she was well deserving of the title. Let's bring her on before we say anything else. I want her to be able to tell you all about her story. But here she is, a good friend of mine, a power player. She's a thriver, a survivor. She's a humanitarian, and I love her. Here she is, Tamara Hunter.
Hello.
How are you, my dear?
Great, and thank you so very much for all the kind words. I love you too, and I'm excited to be here. And oh my goodness, I love your sponsors. I agree, Mikey, and your mom. That yes, that looks amazing. Sleep is so important. So thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to be here with you tonight.
Thank you. There is so much, Tamara. I know we chatted a brief minute about what to even what to even focus on, because when you talk about adversity, you're someone that has been through so much, so many things, and survived all of it, and have such a happy heart and don't hold resentments. You just learn to turn it around. And man, I don't even know where to start with you, but I would like to just I always start the show off, Tamara, by giving you the spotlight for a couple of minutes and letting you brag about yourself. This is the time where I want you to take about 3 minutes and tell the audience your biggest accomplishments, the things you're most proud of, the things that give you joy in your life, the great things you've got going on. And then after that, we're going to start talking about some of the things that before the cupcakes and the unicorns, right? All the stuff that came before that.
Well, thank you. And the cupcakes and the unicorns, I love it. However, I will also say that the things we're going to be talking about together are things I'm actually grateful for in my life. The attitude that I have about life in general is one about that we can overcome anything. And every single day of our life, whatever is presented to us is something that we can thrive through. And it's here for us to learn so that we can better serve others. And what am I most proud of? Well, in truth, my whole life has always been about helping others. I was raised in that kind of a environment, philanthropic in nature. My grandfather and my mother were my heroes, and I do a lot with heroes journeys. And my journey of going through cancer and surviving it, not knowing if I was going to, I really knew I would, but I came from a family of that has had its challenges, cancer, and to have the nonprofit that people were like, you're going to start something that you're going to really affect the world. And you're what? How old? And the fact that we right now through the world have people that are being touched by the nonprofit that has been started that you are helping with, Chemo Buddies for Life. Yes, I am extremely humbled to be the president and co-founder of this amazing group of family members, of buddies that are there for each other forever and are making a difference, and we're healing through connections. And then I'm grateful and very humbled by the fact that we have today social media, that we can have opportunities to share our messages. And for the buddies, I was actually I was challenged to do a show of which then I highlight a lot of the people that you've been sharing and showing, and that is through the Service Heroes show. We right here, the image here, I'm grateful for the chats that we do every single day. And you are my co-chat host on What's Up Wednesdays, in which we bring current information of what is happening right now in the front lines, and what our community can expect and help to live through. Because what we realize is we don't have to let anything that's happening in our life define us. We get a choice each and every moment of our life, and that's the way I like to live. And then, of course, I'm grateful for all of the Next Impactors and the Next Impactor Challenge, because of the fact that it provided a platform for all of us to take our messages out there to make a difference in the world. And the fact that both of us were in the top 5, just grateful of, and the fact that I won with the platform of Chemo Buddies for Life. Grateful again that we now, many of the impactors, in fact, all of us there, are working for this to change the way that cancer is done, because basically everybody's been touched and everybody is who we are there for. And it's a matter of getting the message out there. And so thank you. I'm grateful to be here today to talk about it.
Awesome. There's so much wonderful things that you do. Like I said, we could fill the whole hour just talking about your service work, but that's not what this show is about. That's your show. That's your show, your Service Hero show.
Yeah.
This show is Dare to Share. And the reason that I want such I guess, an edgy show is because I know what it's like to hold back secrets. I know the pain, the toxicity that it caused, because I held back all of my past secrets for years and years, out of guilt, shame, embarrassment, whatever it may be. And I know how destructive that was in many areas of my life. Since breaking through that and coming out with my story through my book, I've learned all about the freedom that transparency gives us, and what a game changer in the world that transparency can be. So this show, Dare to Share, is about you stepping up, Tamara, and being that one to really get vulnerable, really tap into your emotions and talk about those really hard things that a lot of people just don't want to talk about or haven't found the courage to talk about. There's so much about you. You're very present in the media. A lot of people know you for your shows, for your service work, for the Global Impactor. And you don't talk a lot about your hardships because you don't want to have that victim stamp across your forehead.
Right.
I believe, Tamara, that the knowledge that you have through your adversity is a wealth for people to gain from. So I invite you because I want you to share that. I want you to tap into that emotion. Before we dig in, though, I do want to just recognize and say hello to Carol. Carol's here with us. Mary Sterling's here. And then Mikey's here. Macewood Ahmed Zaraji. Not sure who that is, but thank you so much for joining us. I hope I didn't say that name too terribly wrong than it was. Anyway, so Tamara, let's go back. Let's dial it all back, okay? Let's go back to the first 5 years of your life and share with us about the speech issues and not a long time, because as a host, I got to keep the show moving, but I want to be able to touch on several things, but let's give it its due place and tap into that emotion and go back in time and try to remember how it felt to you and what became of it.
Well, and I do want to address one thing before I do go back into time, and that is the reason I didn't run under Chemo Buddies for Life, because I could have. I always made it very clear that I was running under my name, yet I was leading with the Chemo Buddies for Life message, because I do understand that my life, in truth, is huge, and there are many things that people can learn from. I have, and when I was a little girl, yes, I was that little girl that that people made so much fun of, that the kids in my neighborhood threw me into an open sewer, and I ended up with a very, very bad case of hepatitis. And the reason that I was so awkward, and you know, like that kid that now is, they call it bullying. Back then, it didn't really have a word. It was painful though, and I was extremely shy because of the fact no one could understand me. When I was born, my mouth and my jaw and just everything was very different than it looks now. And I had to go through years and years and years of orthodontistry and external headgear, internal braces, and then speech therapy, because I couldn't even swallow without my tongue doing weird things and basically making a mess. And so I learned how to eventually, and that's why I sometimes have to even slow up, because, and people are like, you know, it's like, okay, you're very diction oriented. Well, it is because I mechanically, I had to learn to reposition my whole mouth and jaw to make the, you know, words that most people don't even think anything of.
Wow.
And so I came from a point where I would hide behind chairs if anybody came that I didn't know, because I didn't want them to hear me, to a point now where can't shut me up.
Wow. And you know how mean kids are. I can't imagine the bullying and what that did to you growing up. Didn't you say you didn't even speak? Like it took you a long time to even form words, right?
Right. Well, you know, what I remember, because, and some of this came from my mom reminding me and helping me to understand and put some of the things together. But what I remember was that what I thought I was saying in my brain, what the words I wanted to say in my brain, never sounded like the words I was attempting to say. And what others, it sounded like when others said the same thing. There was no connection in that. And so, you know, my family, immediate family, they could understand my whatever it was. And that's why I talk so much with my hands. I mean, there was a period of time when I was able to finally speak where people could understand, that I would literally sit on my hands, because I had to retrain my whole body to be able to talk. Because you know, you find ways to get your message across. You find ways to make people, you know, if there's something that you need to say, you'll find a way to do it. So, you know, do I remember it being very difficult? Yes, I do. And that continued. I continued once I started school and I started being able to, you know, vocalize, yet there was still a lot of issues. So that 8 years started once I started school and started getting the help. I had 8 years of school therapy, you know, where they would pull me out of class, and then I would go after school to a professional every single day and work with them.
And how old were you, Tamara, when you got through the speech therapy and the bullying kind of died down? How old were you?
Well, you know, there were other issues also. That I was allergic to the sun and grew up in Southern California. So I was not allowed to go out on the playground with the kids. I was the kid that had to stay and they didn't keep the class doors open. They locked them at recess. I wasn't allowed to go out and play with the kids. So I had to remain alone and watch the kids. And you talk about fodder for, you know, for teasing is what I looked at. I have to give a lot of credit to certain people at the school that recognized that this could be turned into a strength. And so they made me kind of like a school ambassador. That's why I'm so big about ambassador programs. And they made me one when I was a little girl. And I remember being like a mentor to someone else that was also kind of different and unique and gifted and beautiful, and helping to welcome that person, and finding a something, a gift in what it was, the trials during that period of time. So, it finally, I finally, when I was in junior high, I was that geeky girl, which I love being a geeky girl. And I had a couple of friends that were too, and we were brainiac geeky girls that were willing to stay and work with the teachers and do all the extra credit work. And I couldn't go out anyway, so I might as well get something done. And when I got into high school, I really thought that that's when things started to turn around for me, and I started to that was all done by then. Most people were starting to get their braces, but they needed to do so much work for me. I was done by the time I was in a freshman in high school, and I was involved in dance because my mom had gotten me involved in things that I didn't need to. It didn't require me talking, that I could I could share and enjoy. And she put me in piano, but that was never good. I couldn't. I never excelled there. Yet, then it was like you couldn't stop me. I was really the joiner then, and I became the editor of the school paper, and I was on the dance team, and all these different things. And then our house, our home life then decided to, change, and things happened. And so there was there was a very short period of time there that, like, I was living large. I was just totally loving it. I was loving it.
Did you go to the same school from elementary all the way through high school, or had you moved and had people that didn't know anything about you?
We only were the very first couple of years when I was at the school where the kids threw me into the ditch, and said that was somewhere else. That was somewhere else. And then we moved to the area of which I grew up, and we ended up moving a lot. My home life ended up falling completely apart, and we lived in 3 places in 1 week. One time. I mean, we moved so many times. It was like I could box my room up in 2 seconds and be ready to go at a moment's notice. And yet, to my mom's credit, through all of that, she was able to find a way through interdistrict transfers and being creative in all sorts of different ways to keep the one constant, and that was then staying in school.
Okay.
But then I was ready to leave, and I found a way to graduate by the time I was 16 and leave the area.
Well, I would just imagine if I had been in your shoes and gone through so much, that by the time you started coming out of it and having some kind of normalcy with your speech and you had your braces off, I would have wanted to go to a new school where no one had known anything about my past.
Yeah.
Did you ever think about that, or?
Well, no, because by then I was involved in some philanthropic, very involved in philanthropic organizations from the time I was young, and I had some really solid, like, families.
Yeah.
And in fact, they were a couple of the people that were in my hometown video were some of the people that were my support group.
Right.
Back in that time, and I would never have wanted to leave them. They were my family. They became my family. Not that my family wasn't important to me, but we were having meltdown. Okay. And that happens. It happens in many homes, and many people can relate to it, and there are ways to get through it, healing through. However, when you're in the thick of it, it's good to have those people that you can depend on. And that's why I was grateful that I didn't have to go and I didn't have to leave until I then was ready to, because there were some things that took place, and then I was ready then to go. Right. But I was ready to go from school, and I was ready to go from the area and start something new.
Good. Yeah. Well, So let's jump a little bit. I know you're talking about some things fell apart for your family life, and we're going to kind of skip over that because I want to talk more about um, when you did marry and start having kids. Some things fell apart with you there, and I know you told me you actually had to go underground at one.
Right.
So, I mean, I've come from a domestic abuse situation. I understand about running away. And he followed me 4 states and caught me, found me, whatever. But talk to us about what that means to go underground and why.
It's serious. It's serious. It's serious. This was my second marriage. Again, I was married, first marriage, young, because I had decided that I was going to join a particular religion that I finally was going to have what I wanted, a family. And married my best friend, didn't realize that wasn't the right thing to do. And we had a kid. We have one child. And so then I married my second husband, and we had 3 kids together, and so I had 4 children by then. And little did I know at the time, and he was undiagnosed. I actually thought I was going crazy. I literally did. And I had been through so much, and I had been through a lot of therapy to get through it. I've done a lot of work. It's not like I've lived this life and then not worked through it. I have. And yet all of a sudden I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I must have missed something. I'm going crazy. So I sought help, and I was going 3 times a week for a while, and then realized when it was said to me that you're fine, it's not you. What I believe is that you're living with an undiagnosed bipolar. Mm-hmm. So I then, being who I am, is like, okay, the Girl Scout, I am going to, rally the troops. We're going to get through this.
Fix them. Let's fix them. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wanted him to fix himself. It was not an enabler. I'm not an enabler. I was not going to fix him. I wanted him to get into programs and get the help. So I reached out to then get like an intervention situation together, but they did not believe me. They thought that I was the one having all the problems and I was making everything up. And so long story short was that it just got worse and worse and worse to a point where I was threatened. It became very abusive. It was really very bad. And I then knew that it was going to end one of only a couple of ways. And I had 2 young children to let it go one way. So I called home and I basically said, I can't know the details. You can't tell me. I can't know. You have to just work it out. Tell me I had to legally have the right to take my children out of state. And that was the only thing I was to focus on. Other than that, any details I didn't know. I wasn't to know. And so then what ended up happening is I had the rights. We literally drove to the state line, because I was told if there are cops waiting at the border and they have the legal paperwork to stop you, you cannot leave, even though you have rights to leave. I had them, but I was told, that could happen. Mm-hmm. So it was just, go to the county or the state line. Once we got over the state line, realized that one of my kids didn't even have shoes. But I was grateful to be gone. Well, then you go underground, and underground means no one knows where you are. No one knows where you are. We lived in a situation where we literally were washing out our underwear in the sink, and didn't know how long that would be until I could get protection from the state. And so then once I got protection from the state, I then also had to have restraining orders in 2 different states. There was so much more involved, but then I was off the grid pretty much through most of that time. There's ways of people that need to be protected being protected, but you've got to protect yourself. You have to know that you are not going to. I didn't have social media. When it all started, I didn't have it because I couldn't. There,
Goodness, he'd have found you.
and and there's so much more involved in it. However, and it was right around the time when there was a lot of newness. Computers were then coming, because this was back, before you had phones that were computers. This was back in the day. And the laws kept changing right around then. What was protected, what wasn't protected, was email protected, was it not protected? There was a lot of different things, but the bottom line was this, is that my attitude was, until my youngest child was 18, I was going to do everything I could to have lay low as much as possible. And I did. And then now it's kind of ironic that now I'm like everywhere, and yet the good news here, and so many people that are buddies, many of them have had the same type, because there's certain types of cancers that they now believe maybe came from certain types of stressors and different things. And I think, well, possibly, I always knew that there was something big I was meant to do in my world, in my life, to help others. That was always something that I knew. And whatever it was that I needed to do, whatever lessons I was meant to learn, whatever I was supposed to experience, it was hopefully going to help that one or the many, but always that one. I never thought more than the one. And so then I thought, okay, interesting, cancer. All right. Okay, we'll deal with this. We'll get through this. We'll get through this. And that's when finally the aha moments really came together. And that was, all right, that makes sense. I now am understanding this life journey, and that is to let those that are affected by something so big, it doesn't have to be so scary, and it doesn't have to define us. We can get through it. We can get through anything, and we can heal. We can heal.
Absolutely.
The work that is required to do is work. Don't underestimate the fact that, oh yeah, I'll be better, and then there you go. I have actually done so much work through the years, through all of it. And that's why when there's different ways of being able to present things. And my whole thing is, it's not that I haven't talked about it because I haven't wanted to talk about it. It's just that there really hasn't been the interest or the opportunities yet. Now it's coming out because of the fact that now it's much more of an interesting story, because people have got to know who I am because of the impactor and because of the work that we're doing with Chemo Buddies and the Certified Show. So now it's like, okay, we understand that Tamara is authentic, that she is a person of integrity, and these items are huge. So you can think of one of a couple of things, either, oh, that's a really great story, or wow, it's time to now be learning about this, and that she got through it, because look at, she's now doing this. That didn't define her. And
we gotta back up.
A big piece of it. We
have to back up, though, because the people that are watching that don't know you, we're missing a huge chunk here. So we have to back up. So you made it through the speech impediment and the defects and all those surgeries and the braces and the counseling and all the therapy sessions you had to just be able to speak properly. Then you made it through a volatile situation at your home life. Then you married and got into a domestic abuse situation where you had to go underground, made it through that. Now, guess what happens to not just you, your mom, I think a couple of your kids. You heard those words. You have cancer.
Yeah.
So let's briefly talk about that. We don't have a lot of time, but let's touch on that, Tamara, and how after you got through so many things already and you thought finally you were catching a break, talk to me about that and the anger that came with that and the resentment that came with it.
Well, it's interesting. Okay. I deal with a lot of things through humor, and for myself, it's kind of comical. But I've heard those through one direct line from my grandfather, my mother, my brother, and I only have one sibling, and one of my children and myself. So that's 5 people, 4 generations, all through one line. Lost my grandfather, who was my hero, and my mom, and yeah, there's me. I didn't do the wig thing because I just didn't, it wasn't comfortable. That's me wearing a wig, but I never wore it outside. I took a picture at least and yeah, there's me when I first shaved my head because I was losing my hair, and it was like, okay, let's do this. And so when I heard those words, I had already experienced them for my grandfather, who I had passed, my brother, which he had lived, but he had a very, very, severe cancer. And then for my daughter, when she was 19, that was the hardest one to hear someone had cancer. That was much harder than myself. When I heard it, I joked around, truthfully, because I was 54 years old, and 53, 54, somewhere in there, and I hadn't had a mammogram yet because I had other health issues and I had worked through them, and everybody's like, you need to do this. I'm like, I will someday. And I did. And then I got the call, okay, you got to come back. And I thought, okay, face the fiddle, live I know enough. I've been through enough. Okay, if it's my bad and I have to, if I'm going to gain my wings, I'm all right. I've had a good life. I've had a life. Let's put it that way. And so I actually was joking about it. And there's a lot of jokes about it. And I talked about that before. The thing, though, that was interesting with the whole thing was that when I was going through cancer and going through active chemotherapy, that's when my mom ended up in the hospital. And little did we know that she had multiple myeloma, which is one of the most painful of the cancers, bone marrow cancer. And her story is incredible. And I think I had the harder time with my grandfather, my daughter, and my mother's cancer. And my mother is my why behind the why of the buddies, because her story is the story that makes me cry. Mine never did. I kind of joked around and laughed, and I knew I was going to be fine. I just knew it. Either way, whatever the outcome, I knew I would be okay. My mom, however, every day I wake up, and every day until this is built, that anybody in the world can access and get a buddy, and that we are solid enough, I am not stopping, because my mom is the one I was not able to help. I was not able to be there. I was not able to help her. And that is the hardest thing every day for me. And to know how much pain she was in and how afraid she was, and she couldn't come home. I'm in the room she was supposed to come home to. She lived in my home. This was her room, yet she couldn't come back because I was in chemotherapy, and it looked like my daughter might be reoccurring, and she had superbugs, and we didn't know.
I just cannot even imagine.
And so she's screaming out in the middle of the night, help me. And then they're calling me to do something about it. And my chemotherapy took my voice away. Again, my voice went away. I had chemo sores on my vocal cords. That my voice never completely healed. And so I do sound slightly different than I used to before. And that's okay. In the morning, I sound a little froggy. And, yet, life presents opportunities for us to then be able to walk through the door of them to make a difference for ourselves and others. And I asked my mom, because she kept going in and out of being lucid because of the superbugs and where they were. So she was losing her mind, and then she'd come back. And one of the times she came back, because she had been in pain for 34 years, big story, I asked her, I said, if you could change this, because she was supposed to be dying 34 years before, if you could have gone then and not had your life and not have the pain you're having now, would you have chosen that? She said, you know the answer. I'm okay. I'm okay. And so, you know, knowing that when she wasn't okay, she wasn't in her right mind, she was screaming out like a child, and I couldn't be there for her. Yet, when she was lucid, she left me with the understanding that she had made the choice and that her choice was working for her. And so when she gained her wings, I know that she was at peace. Yet I couldn't touch her hand because she still had the superbugs and I was still under treatment.
You know, that's incredible. And then to have to deal with your child as well, and not even know what your future is, much less their future, and having to go through a funeral on top of what you're facing, not knowing what your outcome is going to be. It's amazing, isn't it, how we're able to tap down inside of us and find strength that we didn't even know we had to get through situations like that. You know, a lot of times we're facing hardships in life. We're facing some huge mountain that we think we're never going to be able to get across. Yet somewhere we find that strength, don't we? We find
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Find
Yeah.
it.
I'll tell you, the time when I was underground was some of the hardest times in my life. I will say this, and anybody that's had to go and leave everything and for safety and to be able to continue going forward, and the fear that is associated with that period of time, I'm not going to diminish that at all. And anyone that is going through that right now, there are people out there, and right now during this time of COVID, I know that there are many that are stuck in situations that are less than desirable, and right now is a time where there are people out there, there are organizations that can help, and seek after them. And if nothing else, come to our organization, because we are opening our doors to, and we have through our chats every evening, humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a lot of love that we share. And we are sharing it for those people, with those people that are affected by cancer and those people that are feeling that isolation and easing the suffering of it during COVID. And so you would totally be a part of us. And we have the closed group here on Facebook, Chemo Buddies for Life. Chemo Buddies for Life. Go to groups, go to the community and ask to join. You're going to hear a lot about cancer. However, this is the way I look at it, guys. If you are in this situation and you need some love and some acceptance, if you will, a safe place, because this is a safe place, is that we would rather you find this now and get through it and not let that create possibly the cattywampus cells that possibly, like I ended up with, where then I was diagnosed with cancer. We don't want you to be diagnosed with cancer, and we're there to love you and be a part of it. And thank you, Sherry. I love you, Sherry. Yeah.
Tamara, I want to, every show I ask my guests to really tap down deep into your emotion and think about that vulnerable secret or that vulnerable experience in your life that you're willing to dare to share with us today. I want you to give that some thought. I'm going to do a sponsor break real quick. I want you just to give that some thought while we go to sponsor. And those of you out there, I want you to please share this out during this break as well, and make sure that the people that need to hear it are getting to hear it. And again, please support the sponsors, because they are the reason that this platform is able to run. Tamara, when we come back, you're going to share that moment with us, and we're going to give some advice to the listeners, and then we're going to be out of time already. It went by so fast. We'll be right back. Today's show is sponsored by Simple Changes from Wanda Reynolds. Make a simple change today for a healthier tomorrow with products like Simply Satisfy, which aids in gut digestion and curbs your appetite. Mental wellness is directly related to gut health, so keep a happy gut with Simply Satisfy. Then there's Simply Soothe. It helps relax your sore muscles and it supports your overall joint health. Simply Start is made from 100% organic hemp oil. It promotes your calmness, supports sleep, and maintains healthy joints. Contact Wanda Reynolds today through Facebook Messenger or at scdso.com/live life wonderfully. Health provides simple solutions to whole body health. To get and stay healthy, we offer Somaderm HGH Gel. Would you like to sleep like a baby and wake up rested? Do you want to feel maximum benefits from physical exercise? Do you want to burn through that afternoon slump with energy to last well into the night? Well, you can. And you may also experience 25 other whole body improvements with the gel. It's effective, safe, FDA registered, and very affordable. Diane has immuno boosters and keto support products too. Contact Diane Chasik at lifesmilehealth.com or text lifestyle to 64600 today. All right, Tamara. So before the break, we asked you to think about something that's a very vulnerable moment in your life that maybe you haven't shared with too many people, but that you're daring and willing to share with us today so that we can learn from your experience and maybe see how it was a pivotal point in your life or any advice you can give us around that event. So what did you decide to share today?
Well, I started sharing it just recently because of my mom's birthday. My mother and I, part of the problem with during that time when I was in that high school period and I was talking about it all falling apart, my mother became really, she had a breakdown and she became a bit of an alcoholic and she was an ugly alcoholic. And that really was a very difficult thing for a high and mighty child. And that's the thing that I'm being willing to dare share right now, is that I took a bit of I was always that person that had such a high expectation of myself, and I always expected it of others, and I didn't possibly allow for the pain that my mother was going through at the time, and then later understanding why she had the breakdown she had. And so this then translated into much of our adult life together. We would have that yin and yang. Things would be okay, So then later in the very end, when I went back for the hometown video, it was very difficult for me to go back because it brought back memories of that period of time. And in truth, I wasn't really I was not very proud of myself. I was holding it, and I believe that my mother, in many ways, we got this cleared up. However, there were things that I still wish I could have said to her about how sorry I was and how I just expected so much because I expected so much of myself. It was like I was a very old soul at a very young age. My mom was that child, that one that's bright and shiny, let's have fun personality. And I was the old soul, let's get it done now, be responsible. And so that is something that I'm letting finally go. And it hasn't been really easy. And she's had her birthday, and I was kind of talking about it on the walk, and then we talked about it a bit on some of the shows. And so that's the story behind the story.
Thank you for sharing that, Tamara. I did a show the other night with Vicky Omafalaji about grief. And I just want to pause briefly and explain to the audience how important it is that we make the time, make the space to grieve, whatever it is. You're grieving the fact that you didn't get to tell her the things you wanted to tell her. Some people are grieving a loss, it could be from a pet dying or a parent or a child or whatever the grief is, abortion issues, whatever we're grieving over. We can't just negate the fact that it's there. We can't just stuff it down with little Debbie cakes or alcohol or crack cocaine or heroin or pills or sex or gambling. We have to confront those issues. But it's so important we give ourselves that space and that time to do it. It's healthy. to do it. It's healthy to do it, and we must do it. So I just want to say to you, Tamara, that I'm glad to hear that you are now. My son is calling. I've got my phone turned off, but he's somehow calling on my laptop, and he never calls me. But okay. Anyway, I'm really glad that you're addressing that now, and that you're finding that space and that time to tap into that. I thank you for sharing that with us so that the viewers can understand timing. If there's something you have to say to one of your loved ones, don't wait, because we never know what's around the corner. Just like the day I had the wreck, I didn't know that morning when I woke up that I was going to kill somebody that day. We don't know what's around that corner, so don't wait. You got something you need to say to someone, or ask someone, or clear the air, or get closure, or ask to forgive, or you forgive. Guys, go do it. Go do it now. Don't wait. And then give yourself time and space to heal from it. Tamara, you've been an amazing guest. There's so much going on in your life. And I really thank you for pausing, because I know you've got your hand in a bunch of different plates right now, and you are doing a lot of philanthropy work, and you do so much of service. But I wanted the people that support you to get to know more about you, including me. I've been friends with you, and there's things I've learned that I didn't even know you went through. And I'm sure there's a ton more, because you can't go in depth too much in this short amount of time. But I thank you for being vulnerable, and I thank you for being honest with us and allowing us in and to feel some of that pain with you. Does anyone have questions for Tamara? If anybody has a question around cancer or abuse or any of the things that you've heard her share here tonight, if you need advice on something, go ahead and chat on the comments. Or Tamara, can they contact you somehow?
Yes, of course. I'm on social media. Get a hold of me there. You can go also either through the chemo. There's 3 places on social media. On Facebook, you can go to the Tamara L. Hunter. I just started like a public figure page, because my other one is always so full. And so you can go there and email. You can go to Chemo Buddies for Life and Messenger, or Messenger on these. And the Service Hero Show, Tamara L. Hunter Service Heroes. You can go there. So all 3 of those areas you can messenger, and I check those. I actually do.
So
Yeah, I do. And email, not so much. So it's much better. Pardon?
Transparency.
Yeah. We're not going to get into the email thing. Yeah. Anybody that knows me, they laugh about it, because if they email me, they know to messenger me or text me to let me know that they emailed me, because right. I probably won't know.
Got it. Well, Tamara, look, we are running out of time, my friend. Yeah. Thank you so much. You guys, please reach out to Tamara. She really does serve from her heart. I know her. I trust her. I love her. Support Chemo Buddies for Life. Even if you're not dealing with cancer yourself, there may be a coworker, a loved one, a neighbor that is. And this community is for everyone. It's a place where you can learn how to be a support to that person that is dealing with it. So cb4l.org. Please get in there. I'm very proud to serve as your vice president on the board. I believe 100% in this nonprofit, and I urge everyone to go join and be a buddy. All right, Tamara Hunter, you've been phenomenal. Thank you, my friend. I love you, love you, love you. And we will get you back on again another time, okay? Because there's so much to share.
Love it. And thank you for this format. I love you too. Thank you.
Love you, honey. Mm-hmm. All right, bye-bye. Bye. All right, you guys, that's it. That's Tamara. Now you know why I love her as much as I do, and have a lot of admiration for her. Even though she beat me in the impactor competition, I couldn't be more grateful and proud of her and happy that she did. So you guys support her any way that you know how to do. Get in touch with her. All right, so what's to come on Dare to Share with Mistie Layne? There's a lot of things happening, you guys. Things are growing and moving at exponential pace. I'm so thankful to you as my viewers. Hitting that 7,000 viewer mark was just, I've never had that kind of views. I'm so excited for it. And keeping the Amazon Fire and the Roku viewership around 2,000. I'm so thankful for that because it's not about the views. For me, it's about the 2,000 people that are hearing the message of the guest. And that's the most important thing. It's all about sharing the raw, authentic truth so that other people can learn from these experiences. And then we can all become educated, informed, aware. We can step up to the plate, start judging less and mentoring more. We just need more kindness in the world, you guys. We need to stop judging each other. All right. Be on the lookout on the hashtag Be That One Facebook group on my page. There's going to be some writing exercises coming up next week. I'm going to be releasing my toxic dump guide for free. It's going to be a writing exercise. I'm going to do a video clip with you to walk you through it. And then down the pike a little bit, I have started my online coursework, and hopefully within 8 weeks, we will have a full-fledged online course out there for you guys, all based around writing, because writing is what saved me, and that's what I know. So that's what I want to pass on and share with you, is how that writing can help improve your life too. So be on the lookout for that. And please, like I said, if you want a copy of my book, there is some writing exercises in here. There's a chapter called Cope Equals Hope. It's a 4-step process to help you release some toxic shame and guilt. If you want to copy my book, you can go to my website, which is mistielayne.com, or you can get it on Amazon, Walmart, Target, any of the bookstores. But if you want a signed copy, go to my website and grab it there, and I can mail that out to you right away. Thank you so much for being here. I love you all. Gabrielle, thank you for joining. Go back, please, and watch the show. I don't know. Oh, I don't know what happened. I think we just got hacked. We had some really ugly things just got said. Okay. Anyway, love you guys. Thank you for being here and watching the show. And we will see you next Tuesday. Remember, we're here every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Thank you. Mistie Layne out, and have a nice evening. You guys, I strongly apologize to you. I'm not sure what happened. We had some horrible comments make it into the show. Some people jumped on that obviously weren't there for the right reasons. I have reported them and blocked them, and I do apologize for that. I'm going to try to make security better and see what I can do to fix this. All right, you guys.